Holy crap, it worked. Okay. Here's the business report.
Viral videos on TikTok with the hashtag because the cat is, and this is not a pleasant part of it, because it's taking down songbirds, and you ought not to encourage that. Reported higher revenue and a lower loss for its quarter. Something the company says was driven by a young demographic and the impact.
It's fucking August. How are you reporting first quarter earnings in August?
$3.92 the share. The TSX little change in what was a low volume day for May.
D'accord. Monsieur Forero, merci beaucoup d'avoir pris le temps de répondre à nos questions cet après-midi et meilleure des chances avec votre projet.
Merci pour le...
Monsieur Forero, merci beaucoup d'avoir pris le temps de répondre à nos questions cet après-midi et meilleure des chances avec votre projet.
Merci pour l'opportunité de parler.
Du groupe Broken Forest qui est derrière cette initiative.
Stack was up 6. Meantime, housing prices in Toronto jumped more than any other city in the world this year, according to a new index that says Toronto's prime price was up 27% in the 12 months ending in June. The report says this was driven by strong buyer appetite and low inventory levels. Canadian dollar at 79.82 cents U.S. At the Business Center, I'm Richard Sutter.
Your employment rights with Lior Senthiru from employmentlawyer.ca.
COVID-19 has forced drastic employment changes on many Canadians in the form of layoffs, pay cuts, reduction in hours, demotions, and work relocation. What most employees don't realize is that your employer does not have a right to make significant changes to terms of employment without your consent. You don't have to accept these changes. Your employer is essentially terminating you, and you are owed full severance pay. I can help you get the severance package you are legally owed. My team has helped tens of thousands of employees get the compensation they deserve when changes are made to their job. Before you accept...
No, I'm not going to proceed down that road. Wherever you might have read that, apparently no, it's not been validated. Well, no, you can talk to him off the air and try to convince him otherwise, but he's actually looked into it on our behalf. Thank you for the call. Let's get to Jewel on the highway. Jewel is next here on the Oakley Show. Good afternoon, Jewel.
Thanks for taking my call, John. Great show. But are you not going to Montreal in 2 weeks vacation?
No, I'm actually going on a pleasure cruise. Thank you.
Okay,
well, it's not a cruise.
Stopped a vehicle on the left shoulder, 2 MTO crews on scene. And because of this, not even a live lane block, eastbound 401 is heavy from approaching Westney off and on to approaching Curtis Road. And then a slowdown from the 412 to approaching Bowmanville Avenue, because on the westbound 401 approaching Holt Road, we have lanes blocked to the crash. It's heavy from approaching Bowmanville Avenue to approaching Holt Road on the west 401. Northbound 400 delays from north of Highway 7 to north of Major Mackenzie, north of King Road to north of 9, and from north of Innisfil Beach Road to north of Dunlop. With Cottage Country traffic on the 9s, I'm Christine Langos.
The Muskoka real estate market is hot and sizzling this summer. Connect with Muskoka realtor Bob Clark to list or to buy luxury living on the Big Three. Visit mymuskokacottages.com.
So they had that guy on like it was just some random thing on their business spotlight, whatever, which was he paid for it. Then he advertised for a whole year, try to sell these houses up there. You can't sell them apparently.
Is 680 News.
It's Friday, the 13th of August. I'm Sljana Tivinsik.
And I'm James Monroe. Here's what's making news right now.
Sherway Gardens closed after a 3-hour lockdown following a shooting inside the mall. Police are on the hunt for
It's closed following a lockdown.
Groups of people began firing at each other.
Beginning this fall, you may need a double dose if you want to get around the country. The Trudeau government is making COVID vaccinations mandatory for air, train, and cruise passengers in Canada. The Jays and Mariners popped the lid on a weekend series tonight, and we have another semifinalist at the National Bank Open, Sports at 45.
And Wall Street posts fresh records as the rally for stocks.
So they're trying to present, they're giving this false narrative, this sideways view, saying that of the people that have 2 shots, what they're calling fully vaccinated or double vaccinated, I don't know what that means. That would be 4 shots, wouldn't it? Half the people who are having what they call a breakthrough infection, which means you get COVID after you've had 2 shots, are immunocompromised. So therefore, we got to find a way to force immunocompromised people to have a 3rd shot. You're not listening. If they're immunocompromised, the shot doesn't do anything. They don't have an immune response. We don't have an immune response.
And 427 Express and collectors to
It's not an injection of some sort of thing that goes and attacks the virus. It ain't how it works.
Kipling to the 401 ramps. Westbound 401 delays Stevenson to Salem, and then approaching Brock Road. We have issues on the right shoulder. Police stopped behind a transport that had blown a tire. Minor delay there. It gets busy again. Brimley to Victoria Park Express and collectors. Looks like the issue on the southbound Allen ramp to West 401 collectors is gone. I'm here. I can't spot it. Delays then Bayview alternately Express and collectors to south of Pearson. Approaching Mavis Express, west of Mavis collectors to approaching Mississauga Road. Winston Churchill to west of Highway 25. From the 680 Traffic Center, Craig Gear.
Southbound 404 really solid if you're trying to get onto that eastbound 401 ramp because of that problem on the eastbound 401 approaching Warden that Kyle's been talking about. Southbound 404 DVP slow approaching Finch to south of Lawrence. On the westbound Gardner busy from the DVP to west to Strawn. Harbour Bridge to the 427. Westbound QEW is slow from the 427 to Huron, Ontario, and then from Burloak all the way through to Aberdeen on the westbound 403. That's where we had a crash. That's why it's so jammed up and solid. But good news, that crash has cleared both directions on the 403 at Aberdeen. So eastbound, we had some lanes blocked here. It was 2 left lanes closed off. Delays from Wilson on the eastbound 403. Ooh. And like I said, west 403 delays from Burloak, but that should start to look a little better at least. Eastbound 403 is also slow from the QEW to Dundas. Westbound 403 approaching Mavis. We have the HOV lane still blocked off. It looks like it might be 2 lanes. So the HOV and the left lane are now closed on the westbound 403 because of a crash approaching Mavis. Delays from the 401. Cars, trucks, RVs, and all sorts of fun stuff are up for auction this weekend at NorthTorontoAuction.com. This timed auction closes Monday at noon. Log in and bid today at NorthTorontoAuction.com. Next report at 5:41 with the forecast. Here's Natasha Ramza. High.
Right, showers have pushed out over the lake from Toronto. Still heavy downpours, though, out through Durham, over to Oshawa, Bowmanville, Curtis. Watch for the reduced visibility there, as well as the West End and to Burlington. Things are still going to be a couple of spotty showers for the next couple of hours, and then clearing out overnight tonight down to 16 degrees. The cold front is right on our doorstep, so it'll start to drop here in a couple of hours. And then tomorrow's high, much more comfortable. Back to seasonal, 25 degrees and partly cloudy with a fresh northwest breeze. Tonight down to 16 degrees. It's currently 29 degrees at Pearson, feeling like 39.
This is 680 News.
Breaking news from Sherway Gardens in Etobicoke. The mall has been evacuated and placed on lockdown as police investigate a shooting.
Then it wasn't placed on lockdown, stupid. Oh my God, you are fucking stupid. We let everybody out and we locked the door. No, you didn't. You can't do both, stupid. Jesus.
This afternoon. There were reports of 2 groups of people who were fighting. Firearms were drawn and shots were fired.
CBS spokesperson Megan Gray says no injuries were reported and investigators are still looking for suspects. The mall remains closed. It's still under lockdown, and they are now doing a controlled exit because there were employees and shoppers trapped in the mall.
Trapped? No, they were in lockdown. Please.
Stream of people coming out of the mall at this point. So investigators, again, still looking for suspects. They believe one person in that group of people fired a gun. Arjay here was shopping when he heard a loud bang, followed by panic.
Big heavy
so I was waiting outside the Apple store in the line outside in the hallway. And I heard a loud bang, and then a bunch of people started screaming and running towards me. So obviously, I immediately panicked.
So obviously, I immediately panicked. You're an idiot. We all ran into a little clump all together, so the bullets would hit us easier.
We'll keep you posted here at 680 News as we continue to get updates from investigators live in Etobicoke.
This is 680 News. The Trudeau government announcing changes to travel requirements during the pandemic, and they revolve around vaccinations. We're going to find out also what likely awaits employees in federally regulated sectors. We'll have more on that in a moment. First, we're going to go to 680's Parliament Hill reporter Cormac McSweeney for the latest from Ottawa.
If you haven't been vaccinated yet, you may still not be allowed to take that cross-country flight. At some point before October 31st, Transport Minister Omar Alghabra says any passenger of most federally regulated modes of transportation will be required to be fully vaxxed.
This includes all commercial air travelers, passengers on interprovincial trains,
it's not going to work.
On large marine vessels with overnight accommodations,
So what is a large marine vessel? That's not a legally that's not a legal term. What is a large marine vessel? What type of vessel are we talking about?
All workers in the federal transportation sector will be
You realize people that aren't nationals here, people that aren't allowed in our country, are allowed within our waters. You don't have jurisdiction to force them to get vaccinated.
Cormac McSweeney, Parliament Hill.
Meantime, getting a vaccine is going to be a requirement for federal employees. The Privy Council president says the government expects employers in federally regulated industries to do the same.
We expect compliance from the federal public.
The Privy Council has a president?
Appropriate bargaining agents to ensure that there can be the best way possible to ascertain these vaccination requirements, but we'll do so expeditiously. We're not, we're going to move very quickly to get this done.
Define expeditiously, stupid.
There are close to 500,000 people who work directly for the federal government, a crown corporation, the military, or the RCMP, and nearly 1 million work in
you can't force the military to get any vaccine.
No, you can't. On one of the routes into and out of Port Dover, where thousands of people on motorcycles have been gathering for Friday the 13th. OPP Sergeant says
those would be motorcyclists, colloquially bikers. People riding motorcycle. You don't ride a motorcycle. You drive a motorcycle. You ride in a car.
Just to let them know if their loved one is deceased as a result of this collision. Please make sure that you put driving as a priority. Pay attention to where you are, where you're going, and make sure that you're aware of your surroundings at all times, and just focus on the task again, which is driving.
The road is expected to be closed for several hours. Gas prices are next.
Hi, I'm Maureen Holloway. Now
I would have to show proof of that. I don't have a problem with that, but I have to tell you it's complicated in ways that the headlines, really don't bring out. For example, if someone has religious, objections to vaccines, how does a bank deal with that in their employees? Here's another one. If an employee doesn't want to reveal their medical information to their employer, let's say they have a medical problem that prevents them from being vaccinated, will this mean that they have to tell their employer they have some kind of medical issue? They have to convey that to them? So it makes a good headline, but I think the banks right now are all probably, thinking, how are they going to deal with this?
And revealing your medical information reveals your race. And therefore, it's completely illegal. It's illegal twice. It's under 2 separate sections of the charter you're breaking, stupid.
Sectors must comply with the vaccine mandate or risk losing their jobs.
Sounds like.
So I'm going to tell you what's going to happen. These are election promises, in case you didn't catch that. They declared the election. They're going to try to get an election going before they started making these statements. Okay, so what Trudeau does is just push. It says dumb shit. It says sees what you're going to do with it. It's kind of like how everybody's license and registration and health cards are expiring, and there's nothing you can do about it. Like, the cops can't reasonably do anything to you about it, because how are you supposed to get it? Right, you're going to go to court for 5 fucking years over it. Right, that doesn't... Right.
Fourth wave and another lockdown. I can't tell you how many business owners, business leaders I've talked to have said, we need a vaccine certificate.
What the fuck is a business leader?
Vaccines for people who are especially working with vulnerable populations. And I'm thinking of healthcare and education workers in particular.
Because if they have a certificate, then we don't have to make them wear a mask, and we don't have to test them. That's the next line out of his mouth. Let's prove it.
I think there are ways to deal with folks, particularly if you're compromised or for religious.
A way to deal with us. If we're immunocompromised or have a religion, they're going to deal with us.
Front-facing and interacting with the public. I think there are ways to deal with that. I mean,
you are the public.
We've all been carrying around.
The public is not some other thing.
For many years, when it comes to our children and accessing public schools, so we have a history.
No, we don't. Those are not mandatory. They're not mandatory.
In Canada.
So that's a false narrative.
And let's do the necessary things to avoid a fourth wave. But I think
let's do the necessary things to avoid a fourth wave that started 8 weeks ago.
Particularly folks who maybe have with disabilities, people who don't have access to the internet and have challenges booking their vaccine appointments. Let's proactively get vaccines out to people through using our primary health care providers, for example, to administer vaccines, to talk to people who might be vaccine hesitant. Who
the fuck was giving out the vaccines in the first place, stupid?
vaccine, but maybe can't afford to miss work, or maybe
you got 85% of the people or some shit already going for it. Who's hesitant? They're claiming that 3% of the population is immunocompromised. Okay, that's what they're claiming. It's going to be a lot higher than that. I'm going to say it's like 5 or 10 because it's going to be higher than that. At least 5%. Who's hesitant, you retard? 1 out of 20 people is hesitant, right?
There's vaccine privilege. It's already showing that there's a rift within society based on socioeconomic lines.
Oh, because a month ago when you said that and I criticized you for saying that, now you're going to backpedal. Oh, because you're a completely separate entertainment company from Rogers.
Some of them have cleared away. So we had that issue at the 403 and
endroit parfait sur la planète, mais quand même, je me suis dit que ça faisait du bien de pouvoir terminer cette semaine merveilleuse. On le sait que c'est pas le cas. Il n'y a pas d'endroit parfait sur la planète, mais quand même, je me suis dit que ça faisait du bien de pouvoir terminer cette semaine par
for totally deflecting the issue, which is federally regulated businesses, and talking about something completely different, and that is, trying to vaccinate folks who are, who are poor or who don't have internet access. It's really about businesses who are being compelled by the federal government to put in place a compliance program for vaccines. And the issue that they are facing is how do I ensure that people who don't want to get vaccinated for a variety of valid reasons can continue working and continue to earn money.
For their employers.
Which is one of the concerns where you've got government coercion. It's always a risky proposition. I'm just thinking, there's got to be compliance based on good faith, and yet that's the argument, the gist of the argument. We'll come back. I got more topics worthy of discussion I want to run by our panel. Mike Schreiner from the Green Party, John Turley.
Every excuse they could come up with has been met. Every excuse has been met. We still got to get the vaccine hesitant and the poor and the people not on the internet. Who's not on the internet? What are you talking about? We've got the highest penetration rate of internet in the world. They're at 85% or some shit vaccine. What are you waiting for? What are you trying to get? You're still trying to get the immunocompromised people, invisible minorities, to do what we're telling them to. We got to find a way to deal with them, to deal with the air quotes, deal with the Indian problem. Oh. So everybody who's immunocompromised, visible minority, whatever, or has a whatever religious thing in the federal government or any federally regulated industry, I'm now required to get vaccinated because I registered to operate a coin-operated paying phone company, which is another thing they've been fucking me around. But that's another story. You fucking stupid. Do you know how many federally regulated businesses consist of one person? Probably more than half of them.
Media. All right, here we go. Hot take. If you slap 2 pizzas together, that's a sandwich. The earth is...
Friends, Dad's Group proudly introduces a modern community of 3...
And that's all I got for you. I know you spent an hour and a half trying to stop me to get 10 minutes off. I only planned on getting 5 minutes of video here. I don't know why you bothered. But that's 60 fucking wasted video. I don't know why you bothered. I don't know why you bothered. If you're trying to control what's happening, you just like me make the video and then delete the audio track after like you used to do. Why'd you stop doing that? You still keep handing up my IP address to pedophiles. Yes, you do.